We're live again. We're back with day two. Welcome. Say hi in the chat if you're here so we know you're here. Um, we're glad to be seeing these pieces trickle in. This is the day two of the 5-day composition challenge from Synthase. We're working toward an instrumental, and we're starting from a bunch of cells that people made, musical cells, 288 to be exact, which is pretty exciting. So today everyone was sorting through those and arranging them to get a 30-second to 3-minute piece that they are happy with the arrangement of, right? So these are all works in progress, and we're going to hear some of them tonight. So I'm Nate May. I'm director of Synthase and teaching artist.
And I am Susie. This is the ear of my cat right over here, and I'm associate I'm associate director of Synthase. I'm also a teaching artist over here.
Cool. Okay, great. So we've got plenty to go through. We're only gonna take about a couple of minutes per person. So we're gonna start with Cassie. Just give me a minute to get that pulled up. Okay, Cassie. By the way, Susie just had an organ recital today. Do you want to tell folks about that?
Went pretty well. And I think the live stream is still on YouTube if you're interested.
Nice.
Yeah.
Organ is a ridiculous instrument because you can't just play with two hands. You have to play with 2 feet, and your hands can't just be doing one thing. They have to be doing two things, and then they have to be changing bars. So it's like it's quite an impressive task. Okay, we're starting with Cassie's work in progress. All of these, by the way, are works in progress, and I'm thrilled to see so many people are interested in sharing these. And for everyone else who's watching, a work in progress means that it's not polished. It's not even close to polished. It's just like they're getting some ideas out there. And in this case, most people are not probably adding instruments yet. They're just figuring out where they want things to go. So we're going to be listening with that in mind. And here's Cassie's. All right.
So- It's so beautiful.
Yeah, nice work, Cassie. I
I
remember.
feel I feel like it's kind of like if I were to I feel like it's kind of like I like how it started with the having the ding 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 as the foreground. It's almost like this is the constant in a ever-changing world. It's
Mm.
just like that keep pushing forward. Then gradually you see kind of like the constant more from the foreground to the background. You're more appreciating the changing elements, but then in the end, the constant is back. It's kind of just like the two different dynamics keep playing. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you say?
Yeah, yeah, it's really beautiful. I remember Cassie's cells being the ones that had the one of the ones that had a really wide dynamic range, and I can really hear this in here as well, and how it also creates that dimension. And I think she was also adjusting the levels so that we could hear um, some of the some of the cells that were the smallest were also farthest in the background, so that it kind of brought some of the other ones forward. I'm curious how many of these are other people's cells and how many are Cassie's cells that were like specifically for this project once she started making it, because they all fit together in a really beautiful
So
way.
well, right? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Nice work, Cassie. And suppose could probably be live commenting as we're listening so that we can keep things nice and moving.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I was just appreciating the
yeah,
music. So
it's
I'm just
always
like,
hard to
wow.
talk over something, but
Yeah.
okay. Next is Isaac's. All right, this is Isaac.
Very different approach already.
Yeah. All right.
I wonder about some panning.
I just turned it down.
Thank you.
Oh.
Oh, we're both like, whoa.
Mm.
I like this. Nice surprise over here. I like how people are in the chat saying, "Oh, it's myself."
Yeah, Ralph found his cell.
Oh, this is back.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing I wonder. It would be nice if you pan it, you know?
Next up. Cool.
this is surprise ending.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. New
It's a A
material.
it's a A minor, cool.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
10 seconds before the end. Yeah, I guess we should be mostly giving feedback on the arrangement since that was the main thing for today. Um,
right.
and I was just, there was a moment here. Yeah. Yeah, so coming out of this section, and then we're immediately back to where we began. Um, that I felt like, I don't know, Susie, what do you think? Do you feel like that could have maybe used a moment of like suspension or rest before we return? Because we've got a lot of
Are,
like different material
are you
that's
saying like it's like somewhat sort of like a little bit of like you predict that, so therefore like your prediction is fulfilled, that kind of a recap, or
no, I didn't predict it. It's just more like um, I would just like to hear like more of a clean cut before we move on to the
oh,
next
I see.
section. So like
Oh,
maybe we land here and we sit there for a second and then maybe the ding 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 start coming back and then we hear
I was more wondering about, because it's the same thing. Da 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 da. It's like a very like the indication of D minor is kind of there, da da da. So like I'm just wondering, when we're going toward, when coming back, what would it be if like, what if we slap a B flat in there? So like it's the same thing, but then all of a sudden it feels totally different.
oh.
Yeah. So it's like, and also in terms of like orchestration and arrangement, what would it be like when it's the same, when something that's kind of in a way similar, there are always different way to like make it not similar. As if,
Mm.
what if like one, it's like, what if it's almost like you're in conversation with your past self, or you're in conversation with like you from a parallel universe. That kind of thing could be really cool, because like the entire B section, I feel like it's almost like, what really stood out to me is like, because everything's very dry, so it's kind of like on my face when you start to see a little bit more of a reverb, so it's like the indication of the space. And
Mm.
I want to call it the B section, when chords are coming in. Then when the da this thing comes back, like how can we make it different but yet not so different, or like what's your personal choice? So
Mm.
that's what I wonder. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so making the B section like more spacious and then the
Yeah,
A section more dry. There's an idea for you. Cool. Okay, I think you've got the next one, Susie. We've got Sergio next.
we got Sergio.
Yeah. And Sergio, I just want to point
I'm
out
taking.
Sergio cited his sources. So he actually listed whose cells he used. So I'll just, should I say them or people can? No, I'll say them. So he used one from Anna C, um, one from someone whose name I can't pronounce and whose the characters didn't come through in Google Sheets. So it's probably the one with the Chinese characters. And then JT and Ethan Dirth.
Or like a red raven.
Okay, cool. All right, let's hear Sergio's.
Make sure I am sharing computer sound. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I am. Okay.
Nice.
Wow.
Wow.
Uh, it's so cinematic, right?
Yeah. I think he already did steps uh days 3 and 4 as well. Now you can just work on the details.
Okay. Wow. I'm just appreciating this. I appreciate how this like ding 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 is going in Chalasta. I like how it's kind of gone to just be almost like being like swallowed by the wash on all the others. Then it's coming back. It's just like on the Glock and Chalasta, but like Fortissimo. I'm just like, oh yeah, final return.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
wonder what would it be like if you add a timpani over here, because the final return, if you want it to be really, really strong. So
Mm.
it's like a simple row, a timpani in unison with the celesta, maybe 2 octaves lower. It could be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great idea. And then in terms of the arrangement, I sort of felt like the 16th, the constant 16th note trickles started pretty early, right? Can you scroll up to the top?
Mm.
Yeah, so that started in bar
This 8.
8. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's just such a short piece that it's hard to really get that sense that you're building up to something. But every time you introduce a new rhythmic subdivision, it feels like a moment in the piece, right? So that's the first time bar 8 that we hear the 16th note subdivision. Before that, it has been all eighth notes. So this is just like a little tip for folks when you're um, when you're thinking about your form and when you're thinking about trying to make a moment special, there are a lot of ways you can do that. And one way you can do it is to introduce a new 16th note, is to introduce a new faster subdivision. Um, so
The
yeah,
another thing,
go ahead.
yeah, I feel like I was like scrolling back and forth trying to find like other iteration of the da dee because like in terms of timbre, in terms of like a color, this style is very unique by itself. But then I kind of miss it when it's first introduced. It's like so barren, then it's so disposed, Then I kind of miss it. I want to
Mm,
hear that again. Yeah. Da dee da
the
dee.
viola.
It's like the 01 da dee da
Mm-hmm.
015. Anybody into set series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Nice work, Sergio. And a lot of
Okay.
work too. So
Oh yes, for sure.
yeah.
So I believe Nate, you have the next one.
Yes, yeah. Brian is on deck.
Ooh.
I like the little woodpeckery cell.
The woodpecker really stands out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost wondering though, like this one has a oh, I should wait.
Mm.
Nice.
Cool.
Da dee da da dee da da dee dee da. I shouldn't add notes to, but like this one is the first one. I feel like it has a very prominent backbeat.
Mm.
Then it's like then it became a question of do you want to bring out the backbeat because like da dee dee da dee da dee dee da.
Mm.
Then if you want to bring it out, I'm just like, what would it be like if you do like almost like the country music starter pack that is like if you know what kind of sound I'm talking about, like throw a little banjo, throw a little fiddle, throw, throw a little like acoustic guitar,
Oh.
throw some like finger snapping, some like I don't know, it could be really fun. And I don't know why it just came to me. Um, you
Yeah.
know, I just like the backbeat.
They could listen to the NC that was recorded at the Clifftop Festival in West Virginia. I put that in the Discord. It's just a bunch of old time musicians, fiddlers and banjo players got together and played NC by Terry Riley, and it's pretty great.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, so I think Brian, you might want to think about how your layers combine in terms of the tonalities. Um, there are a lot of different tonalities happening at once, and maybe you're into that sound. For me, it was like uh, there was some clashing of tonalities, so I would not be afraid to thin out considerably. I think when we're composing and we're not listening, we're assuming that the listener is hearing more than they are. As a listener, when I experience this piece, I can only pick up so much at once, right? So I'm just hearing, um, like, that little thing that we both call the woodpeckery sound. Um, that jumps out at us. That's occupying a lot of our attention. Everything else that's happening at the same time, we can't really process it all, right? So when you have a lot of different tonalities simultaneously, we can't really process it for the most part. Other people might feel differently. I don't know. Did you feel differently, Susie, about the
I
tonalities?
feel like if the tonality, if this is your jam, embrace it, bring it out, make it more prominent. Just like go for it. You know, if this is your jam, then just like even make a woodpecker to embrace different tonality. And then you can have like a woodpecker like in one note, then start to just like layering on top of it. What if like you start to just reverb your woodpecker and just start
Mm,
to like I feel like delay a woodpecker and just like
yeah,
pan them. So like
that
it's
could be
like
cool.
turning into a micro polyphony on top of it. So it's like so now we're just entirely into like multi-tonality, even in the woodpecker.
Yeah.
It could be fun. If that's your jam, go for it. I'm in full support of that.
Yeah. Actually, I could hear this piece being just those little like spread and like bounced all around in lots of different keys. Um,
On top of a backbeat
yeah, with
or
the
not.
backbeat. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, thank you, Brian. And who do we have next? We have
Ivan.
Ivan. Cool.
Woodpecker's back.
Nice. That's a sweet, gentle ending.
Though, like, one thing I really miss is like, can you go all the way back to the beginning when like the low chord first dropped? I believe that only hit once.
Hmm. Yeah.
It was so satisfying. And then
Mm.
I was just like, I want to hear that again.
Yeah.
Like maybe here, but then it's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sort of
Because like,
the next note feels like it's connected to it, but it's not a full
yeah,
chord.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I think that's another thing that I see a lot with student scores is like they'll do something once, um, and they'll, we'll be tired of it as a composer. We put it in once and we're like, okay, cool, I've been there, done that. But then the listener is like, oh, that just went by in just 1 second, and I need more of it so I can really perceive it and enjoy it and soak in it. So, yeah, I think not being afraid to just pick a few cells and like not introduce any more, because there are also some that we didn't hear until the ending, which is something we heard a couple pieces ago as well. So don't be afraid to just give us all your cells at the beginning, and then all you need to do is add and subtract in different places. That's not the only way to work, obviously, but
I like how I don't remember the notes, but the da da dee da 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 da, that rhythmic pattern enters toward the end. Just made me wonder, oh, will there be more? It's like a very welcoming change, you know. It's just like I feel like sometimes some gesture it just invites more.
yeah,
That I feel like that's one of those, you know.
maybe this is the end of the first movement, and then there's going to be another one. It is
Okay,
it is a
so
minute and a half long, so there could be another movement even within the time limit.
okay, now we're expecting movement two.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So what do we have next? Nice job,
We
Ivan.
have-
Thank you for that.
I think we have
Aaron.
Aaron.
And you're up.
All right. Aaron's on my end.
It's really cool to hear how different moods are emerging from these, because the cells themselves, it's just this information. Oh yeah, we got a mood coming.
Okay, I hope some new score is looking funny, so hopefully it plays fine.
Okay.
Nice. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry, Aaron's way too fast. This is apparently too fast.
Oh. Sounds
I
great.
can find.
Tempo.
I know. Let me find the PS3 file. But I'm loving this tempo.
Yeah, it
though.
works great.
Yeah. It's so grandiose. This is back. Oh, I think that's just because like Muse or default tempo is like 120 or something. Okay, let's hear the actual tempo. It's just like okay, actual tempo coming. Oh, oh.
Oh,
uh,
okay.
I see. Okay. Yeah, it is. It is definitely less chaotic.
I loved it at the 120.
Me too, actually.
Cool. Yeah.
Like one thing I really appreciate is how this like dee da 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 dee just enters with different texture. Like it initially comes in with like this accompanimental thing. Then when this chorus lean toward the flat was the da 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 was the 3 plus 2 plus 3. It was like a moment that both of us just went, wow, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah, and it moves. We can see that it's moving between instruments, right? So when
Right.
it gets orchestrated out, we're gonna hear that
And
idea
like
bounce
it's
around.
also like what Nate was talking about earlier that whenever you introduce a faster pattern over here, when the 16th notes are introduced, it stays. That it's
Mm.
just like it totally just um this is the first entrance. All right, be ready
Mm.
for the backed up tempo. Sorry.
Yeah, and
When it
then
was first
and then it never goes back.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it just I like the spec up tempo because it makes you appreciate the rhythm so a lot more.
The
Not a lot more. It's more just like it stands out to me.
yeah, I thought it was gonna be like a chip tune sort of sound. I could imagine this with like these 8-bit instruments, or like maybe like a breakbeat or something. Um,
Oh.
but
No, this
yeah,
is an interesting direction.
so I think one thing that worked really well, going back to kind of our perception, having that little idea, it's always somewhere, gives us like a point of reference for everything else to change underneath it. And I think
Right.
that works really well formally. And also just the way that the energy is kind of going up and down based on like managing energy is difficult, and it's not just about loudness. It's not just about how high it is. So it's about when things enter, when things drop out. How are you repeating and building tension, and how you're resolving that. So I thought this did a nice
Right.
job of like building right up until the end.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just say, Aaron, I would just say consider a faster tempo because I got attached to it. And then when I heard it at 92 or whatever the original one was, I was like, I could,
You don't think it's as exciting?
yeah,
But
yeah,
I appreciate the clarity
yeah.
when it's slower. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know what you decide, Aaron. Is your piece.
Mildred likes it better with the right tempo. Yeah, you can. Oh, tempo changes. That's an idea. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that is.
I don't think it needs a tempo change though. Like I think it's so driving that tempo changes may or may not kind of, you might lose some energy. But if you do it, tempo change is the way Rage Against the Machine does tempo change, which is just like um, when you get into the heaviest hitting part, you just slow down just a hair so that it can just hit even harder. That could be a way to do it.
I'm just wondering, like maybe it could be like driving and keep going. Then before we introduce a tempo change and think about it in proportion to the current tempo. So like it's in some sort of a ratio. Then like you never spec up or spec down. If you add a drum, never do anything to the drum. So it's like you have a constant drum pattern. Then like the moving part on top of it, it could be slowing down. Say like it's playing like about 2/3 off the tempo, but it still works with the drum. Then like
Mm.
then when it's like when the downbeat lines up, it comes back up again. I like numerous processes, so like that's
Yeah.
immediately how my brain goes to it.
It could be cool too, yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
All
next up
right.
is Vasi. Great job,
I'll
Aaron.
see. Now we're both like, faster tempo.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Vasi, I have yours in a notation software as well. I hope the tempo is correct, but I don't know.
Let's see. Did it default to 120?
This is Sibelius. I don't think the default is 120.
Okay.
I think the default is like 100 or something. Let's double check. I don't think they submitted a MP3.
Okay.
You see MP. Okay, Sibelius, here we go.
Yeah, we'll just hear this first.
It sounds about right. Oh, I'm loving the low C. Oh.
Oh. Little boogie woogie.
I'm curious about the orchestration, like options over here.
Ooh.
Oh, oh.
Ooh.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah.
That was a cat walking on the keys.
Here's the whole image. Oh, that's mine.
Oh.
I like how playful it is.
Yeah, super playful.
Yeah, super groovy too. There are a couple plays I'm just wondering. I think it's gonna be great, but like I'm just curious to see like how places like here, how it would turn out. Like, when we're in the like orchestration that day, aka tomorrow, like what kind of thing you would do to make this part like really stand out, like really different? Like, is it more like a surprise, or is it some place that you can still like hold over some boogie woogie kind of thing from before? Okay, I'm doing it. I am doing it. I really want to know. Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
Then the da 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 dee da da da.
Layering back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's like a little bit playfulness and have like it's the same. It's like part of the groovy layer, but not the whole thing. It could be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Um,
I'd also say during that B section where it's in minor, like where we just stopped there, that
mhm.
could be a cool opportunity to have long sustained tones.
Oh yeah.
Something like that. Because it is a B section and it's got some contrast. That's a nice way to separate it out a little bit. And it's
Oh yeah,
more
totally.
expressive, like the kind of minor vibe. Cool.
I appreciate you using my style as well.
Doesn't it feel good? I haven't
I
heard any of
know,
mine yet.
but when this open,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, that's mine.
Nice. All right.
So next,
Great
I'm
job,
gonna
Bossy.
hand this over to you.
Oh, yeah. And we have Jackson. Okay, here's Jackson's. Oh, two in a row.
Nice.
Yeah, cool. And then
I like how this plays with the repeated notes that it goes from like it comes from the ding 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 then into the da 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 da. There's at the points almost it repeats so fast. It's almost like a tremolo, on the
yeah,
piano. It's great. Then gradually slows down. Then still have the da da da, like the knocking texture.
yeah. Talking about introducing different subdivisions, this one is, um, I feel like it's kind of rare to go straight to like 30-second notes from eighth or quarter or something like that and skip over the ones in between. And it's kind of a cool effect. It sounded almost like Baroque the way that it did that to me. I don't know. Did it strike you that way? You're like, Susie's like a Baroque expert.
As a Baroque person, I'm like, interesting. What do you mean by Baroque?
Like some of the little flourishes, some of the ornaments.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah, I can see that.
mm, yeah. Anyways, yeah, love the way it was layered. So really careful attention to how things are spread out in the space, which cells we're latching onto, and leaving us with that catchy one, boom, 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 boom. The just four notes that are repeating is a really nice way to kind of have us grounded in something, um, while there's a lot of stuff happening in the background. So, or even if that's in the background, it's kind of in the foreground of how we're perceiving it, because when we have something that's predictable and comprehensible, then it becomes higher kind of in our awareness, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So nice work, Jackson. I'm really excited to hear what instruments are applied to this. Okay, next we have Candace.
All right.
Another surprise ending. Cool.
It's like A minor sevenths.
Yeah.
I like how the woodpecker is just like once it enters our attention, it never goes away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, totally. That's we were just talking about that, bringing in those really short subdivisions, and then it's
So yeah.
you can't undo that. Um, cool. Yeah, nice how things kind of we drifted through hearing different cells. Um, there was a definitely sense of foreground and background. And we also had this little chord progression, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's a little tick, a little tick ding sound. Um, it's like the only percussion that I'm hearing. It almost sounded like the metronome, but then it started and stopped at different times. Um, I wonder if that. I don't feel like I need that, but um, there are lots of options for if you want just. Sometimes percussion can be notes, right? Sometimes what we think of as needing to be a percussion instrument can be notes. Sometimes can be notes, what we're thinking of as notes can be percussion, as we saw yesterday with the 808s. But I'm just wondering if that little tick maybe. I think what it is it's so high in the frequency spectrum, and there's a big gap in between that and everything else. So maybe if it was just brought down and it was like not quite so high, then it would work better for me. But yeah, anything else, Susie?
I was also thinking that could be a nice xylophone pitch. It's just like beep,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, or like any kind of high percussion or like glockenspiel. Could be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Make it a C. More C's.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Nice work, Candace. Next we have Ralph. Okay, and I'm going to listen to your second one, Ralph. I think he submitted to you.
I'm loving the syncopation. All right. I like how your ding 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 is moved to a different timbre.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the whole
Very
thing.
refreshing.
Yeah, Ralph must have got tired of grand piano, put it all on E piano. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, one thing I enjoyed was how things built up and then they started over, right? So I think it was at 46 seconds. So there it is. Yeah, we're back to 0. And then it doesn't have to be something different. You know, I think we heard in a couple of other pieces a really effective moment like that. And then at that moment where everything comes out, we hear something new. But at this moment, we're still hearing something old, but it's working as like erasing the whiteboard, right? And now we're building back up again. That does make an interesting form, though, over the course of the 2.5 minutes, because now a third of the way through, we've started over and we're building back up again. So it's just something to think about. Is just kind of like how, like, where does the energy go after it starts over? Does it build even bigger? I think that can be an effective shape, is builds a little bit, it drops out, and it builds even bigger. Um, I always think of things in terms of energy, but Susie, I don't know. Do you think of form that way, or do you think of it more in terms of um, melodic material?
I kind of think of form in terms of energy as well. Like one thing I like about is that when it's building up until the middle point, it keeps building up instead of like stall somewhere.
Mm,
So that's one thing I really appreciate.
yeah.
And the entire time because it's on the E piano, somehow I've been talking about panning a lot. I just feel like this could also be nice panned, you
Oh
know?
yeah.
Like it could almost be like auto pan. If imagine you have like a fancy 5.1, so you can just like ba 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 ba
Oh
ba 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 ba. It could be really nice.
yeah. Yeah. Pan each
Now
note.
you just need a fancy 5.1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Next. Nice job, Ralph. And so I believe, yeah, Brennan is next.
And I have it pulled up. Here we go. Grabbing your shear.
Mm,
I grabbed it already.
great.
All right. Uh, Let me listen to it again. I remember this. I somehow got panicked as soon as this entered like way louder than I
Oh
saw.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we can listen again. It's a short one.
Okay. One thing I really appreciate is that the ding 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 enters at a really high register. Then is a tuba. The tuba and the piano they kind of just filled the low register. Then it's kind of like you have the high and the low. Then you have an empty space waiting for people to fill it up. Then it did right away. So it's like in terms of form, I think it's really nice. But like if I were to work on this, I might think like right now at the beginning, the first four bar, I feel like because I guess imagine the context of this piece being played, it will be unfortunately being played with a bunch of other pieces that have the ding 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 ding. So at this point, I like personally, if I were a listener, I probably feel like, oh yeah, I know exactly what it is. I don't know how I would appreciate listening to four bars of the ding 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 like in its original form. I don't know how other people think. If I were a listener, I'm like, yeah, ding 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 ding. Like 4 bars later, interesting stuff comes in. Then like for 3 bars, it's really nice. And over here, I feel like I am overloaded with interesting stuff. Like I wonder what would it be if we kind of just stretch it out a little bit instead of having them all in 2 pages. What would it be if we kind of like save? Say over here, we have the harpsichord. It's kind of the middle range. Enter. What if we save the 16th notes talking about building energy? What would it be like if we save them for later? Then to have more of depending on the shape you're looking for, or it could be like the shape you're looking for is something that's like it could be fun if you're doing it that way. It's just like one really soft line, then a lot of stuff. We're back. A lot of stuff. We're back. A ton of stuff. If you're doing that way, it could be really fun. Like actually, I will be interested to see that. I just personally. So Nate, what do you think?
Yeah, actually, you hit on all the points I was going to mention. Just the fact that the ding 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 was, the 4 bars is a large like percentage of the piece,
Mhm.
and then the rest of the piece doesn't. It progresses at a different pace. I think it would be nice if you're going to give us ding 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 4 bars, then give us everything else for longer, or just give us ding 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 for fewer than 4. Um, but yeah, I like what Susie said about starting with the extremes, then filling in the middle. I did feel like when the middle got filled in, there was a lot of middle, and it got a little bit. Um, there was maybe it could have used more niching, as in, okay, this instrument has this register covered, so I don't need other instruments there unless they're supporting that what that instrument is doing. So I think that could be a good way to think about not just orchestrating but arranging. Is, for every little, I'm going to divide my frequency space into, say, 10 little, layers. Who's got each one covered? It's sort of like, I guess it's like players in soccer, where it's like you have a
Yeah.
position and you can move, you can be on different parts in the field, but like your role, and you don't get in the way of others. It can be a helpful way to think of it.
Or like you can just think about my jam is information overload.
That's true.
That is like
Yeah, that could. Yeah, Schnicka came up the other day.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, but in
Like
that case, you
what
got to
if
go
like
all out on it. Like you would need a lot more information in order to overload us.
but like then it's the same. So think about it. It's like you could have like a linear unfolding and information overload, two different groups. Then the information overload group is like you always overload us with the same thing. Eventually, we will figure it out. We'll be like, oh yeah, that's right.
Then it
That's
becomes less
really satisfying.
information.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Then became like information deciphered.
Mm, information
Mm.
deciphered. Yeah. Cool. Okay, we
Yeah.
should move on. So thank you,
Okay, so next
Brennan.
one
Nice work.
is
Susie, not you. Susie with a Z.
ah.
Okay.
Oh, Brennan said like he just forgot to delete the first 2 bars. So
Oh,
like there
okay.
should
Cool.
be 4 bars of ding ding ding.
All right. Here's Susie's. Hmm. Yeah.
I remember this.
Yeah. I remember. All
I like how the first thing entered, then she just very prominently, we are not in C major.
right. Yeah. Yeah. This one could be called, yeah, not in C. Um. Yeah. Nice. I loved some of those little sweet little moments. It had this like I was going back to, I don't know, like 60s rock a little bit, in the way that the piano was. Oh yeah, this part. I love this moment, and it works really well with that new
Oh,
bass line.
okay, I can hear that now. I have to point it out.
Yeah. And this still works. I think once we start adding more and more layers, then I start to get, because that's when we're drifting more out of the key and we're getting a few different versions of the key at once. Not versions of the key, a few different versions of like the tonality at once. That's when I start to get a little bit lost with it. And I think there's one cell in particular. Let me see if I can sing it. The highest one, boom, 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 or whatever it is. That one, to me, is not supporting what the other cells are doing, but it's the only thing in that high register. So maybe replacing it with one of the other 287 possible cells that can all be transposed if they're not already in the high register. Yeah. So maybe spending a little bit more time with the curation, finding things that gel a little bit and more in the second half, but keeping that nice little moment. What are your thoughts, Susie?
Yeah, I like I like the da 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 dee,
Yeah.
da, 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 and the 60s rock kind of thing.
Cool. All right, we have Vincent next, and then Red will be last.
All right.
Okay, here's Vincent.
Wow. Oh, nice automation.
All right.
The
Short and
ding
sweet.
ding ding it's getting a lot of new lives.
Yeah. Cool. So Vincent already added dynamic changes, which is nice. And I think now that you've got that as part of your form, you can start to think about how to support the dynamics with other things, because we might think of dynamics as things getting louder and softer, but that's only kind of part of the picture, especially when we have an ensemble piece. The way we experience louder actually is not just a rise in volume. It's like usually there are more people playing. There might be an expansion of the register. There might be a new subdivision, right? It's actually what we're feeling is more energy. And so what I heard here was a... So there was a volume increase, right? But it wasn't an orchestrated crescendo. So that's a moment where it's like, okay, maybe what can you withhold until you get to the top? Or what can you do to orchestrationally to support that, rather than just have it an increase in volume. The decrease, though, I think worked well orchestrationally, because that's...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we just had this little overhang things.
I love the very large arpeggiation.
Yeah.
The row chords.
Cool. All right. Nice work, Vincent. I think also that one could be, you could flesh out each of those sections, especially because the middle one feels like a giant arrival. This one, the sort of, this is a class of like end of the musical kind of sound where you bring in the flat seven. Um, yeah. Okay, and we have Red.
Red Ribbon. I'm gonna grab your share then.
Oh wait, Lucas. We didn't get to Lucas.
Oh, yeah.
Lucas and then Red.
Okay. Then
Oh, and I
just Lucas your. I was trying to grab.
Lucas came in at the last minute, so I don't have it downloaded. There is a PDF for Lucas.
Okay. Like the same. I clicked into Lucas' link. It says like requested URL cannot be found on this server.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I
Can
can.
you? Yeah, if you can open, that would be great. Oh, I see the PDF. Okay, I think I.
Okay. Yeah, I was able to get them because of our weird setup. I can't screen share from my end, but we can listen to the
No,
audio.
wait, I got it.
Oh, you got it.
I
Okay.
got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. I am in the process of getting it.
You're
Download.
welcome, Susie. Other Susie. She thanked us for the feedback.
Okay, I did it.
All right.
All right. Grab your share.
Mm-hmm.
Lucas. Oh, oh yeah. Loving it.
All
And
right.
I really love the combination of cello and piano. It's like it's such a interesting timbre. It sounds fantastic. And I like the sudden drop of the full texture. And since then it's great. At the beginning though, I see Lucas you commented that this da da dee dee da 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 dee da dee da. It's a little bit too short. It could be longer. Um, I agree. Like though, um, from a listener's perspective, I listened to this like starting from here. I didn't quite figure out what's the issue because I am totally captivated by that how well you have the low chords, like sustaining those beautiful chords and the beautiful melodic line, um, and the beautiful doubling. I said the word beautiful a lot. Celeste and piano. Then for me, probably like up until I was keeping a tab on myself, like probably here. That's when I figure, oh yeah, I start to feel like it's kind of like I start to sense it's somewhat repetitive. I as a listener, I want something more. Um, so then like one thing to work on that is yeah, we could extend the melodic line so there are more. Or there's a possibility that what would it be if instead of giving all 4 bars to the listener, I do 2 bars. Da dee dee. Then instead of having the cello and piano doing the doubling from the very beginning, what if it's a conversation? Da dee dee. The next one probably take it, but like instead of like at the C, but dee da da
Hmm.
da da da, having a little bit of sequence. Then they could meet together. Da dee dee da 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 dee da dee. What if they start to be a eighth note apart?
Hmm.
So it's like they're forming their own little itty bitty line. Then what would it be if they're taken by some other instruments? What would it be if I don't know, like they're in different register? So like my point is like there is also a possibility for reverse engineering. Instead of like trying to make the line longer, we can make the beginning shorter. So like instead of giving out this is my hand, you can start with oh yeah, here's my itty bitty 3. Then of course if you're playing like Texas Hold'em, you throw out a 3, you're probably screwed. But like anyway, you see my point.
I
So
got you.
Nate, what's your thought?
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, that's um I think like everybody else, I love the moment where it explodes and we had no idea it was coming. And I think that's a good lesson in like you don't have to give us much warning before you have a big moment. Um, Somehow that worked. It just I could feel like, whew. Also, another cool thing that's happening is those big, long, sustained chords act as pillars, and without them, it would be a totally different piece, right?
Oh yeah,
Because
for sure.
we're perceiving meter on a different layers at the same time. So without those, we would perceive the meter smaller, and it would sound like a fast piece. And then as soon as you add those in, now it's a slow piece with some fast subdivisions, right? So it totally changes how we hear it. It gives us additional like landmarks, and I think it also helps us to build up to that moment where everything kind of comes in. And then of course at the end you had that detail of like the crescendo up until the cutoff, which is a really nice effect.
Oh yeah, I love the ending. I totally love the ending. Yeah.
All right, nice work, Lucas. We should. Okay, now we have
Last but not
red.
least, Red. Red
Red
gave me
Raven.
as a harpsichordist when I see
Oh
5
yeah,
harpsichordists.
nice.
So like I play historical keyboards. I do like a lot of harpsichord and organ. Um, let's go. nice.
Can
Though,
yeah, go ahead. And then I have a experiment.
oh, what's your experiment?
I just
I
want
guess like the okay, you say first.
I
I'm
just
not
want to
gonna
hear it at
interrupt you.
120.
All right, let's go. How do you feel?
I think it was getting somewhere. Or you know what? It
Getting some.
doesn't need to be at 120. I think maybe if there were just more subdivisions, if there was like some 16th notes in there somewhere, it might help to propel us forward a little bit. Um,
In the sense like it really depending on I don't know how serious you are with your choice of instrument. If you're very serious about harpsichord, harpsichord is an instrument. It doesn't really have, unlike piano, that has like when you do piano low chord, you get the very satisfying. Oh yeah, that's a low chord. On harpsichord, when you do a low chord, you get oh yeah, that's a flappy harpsichord sound.
mm,
Then, however, because like I like to think about harpsichord keys does not have that much weight. You can go a lot faster without the burden of like you have an elephant trying to race a rabbit. So like I'm just wondering what would it be instead of having uh, how about we do 16? The notes are. Yeah, okay, it doesn't want to take it. Okay. Um, what if like you just like layer another on top that just goes da dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da da da. Then no, let's just see.
mm.
It's like for me, I feel harpsichord handle like faster notes pretty well. So then you can even have another one just like enters a little bit later. That goes. What was the notes? 30 seconds
Yeah.
notes.
Why
Oh,
not?
I was just thinking about
Oh.
what do I know? Da 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 da. Uh, mm,
Yeah, I think real harpsichord and MIDI harpsichord are very different
or
instruments.
yeah, MIDI harpsichords are what I call hollow end instrument.
Oh, I mean, it sounds great in the low register.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh.
All right, for fun. Let's see. So like I feel like
Oh.
MIDI harpsichord does those kind of like even 16 notes really well.
Mm. Yeah.
It's just like my take. I guess what do you think, Nate?
Yeah, about MIDI harpsichord or, or about the your
Uh,
edition. I think your edition worked really well. This would probably take too long to put in, but I would consider putting in some 30-second notes or, you know,
oh
it
yeah.
because harpsichord also basically becomes a percussion instrument when it's really fast. It's like a ratchet,
I agree.
you know. You just start hearing the because it's actually like plucking
I mean, like
the string.
as like a continuum player, like we joke about ourselves as yeah, like whenever you're playing the right notes, nobody cares. As soon as you play something wrong, people all heard just like, whoa, what is that?
Oh yeah, the rhythms are definitely more prominent than the notes.
30-second notes are coming.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Let's just do 2 bars.
Okay. That should.
I did 4 instead.
Okay.
Yeah. How about we also have like this on top of it, just because we can.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Starting from here. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm digging it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right.
Cool.
Cool. You don't have to take this idea, by
No.
the way, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't
Take
have
it or
to.
leave it.
Yeah, if it's just I hate it, totally fine.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Really glad we got to hear all your pieces.
We have a question in the chat. Were you playing everyone's piece? I came in a little bit late. Honestly,
Oh,
don't know how many people.
we just went through the people who we saw who said, yes, please play my piece. So there were some people who submitted and said no. There were some people who said fine either way. We didn't have time to get to all the fine either way people. So yeah, I think we got to everyone who said yes, but and that's all we have time for anyway. So tomorrow you'll work on orchestration. I'm going to send out the email soon. Keep in mind that you want to, because today I heard a lot of people adding original material, which is awesome. Keep in mind that in order to stay with the letter and the spirit of the challenge, you need to include 4 cells from the challenge, right? So make sure that you're finding a way to work in one of, 4 of those 288. There are a lot of good ones in there, and look forward to hearing what you're coming up with in your orchestrating. Any last words, Susie?
Thank you so much, everybody. It was really fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm exhausted.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you've had a long
Yeah.
day. All right. Take care.